right. So we are gonna start with the blanket. We're not gonna start with the belly holster, but we're gonna get there eventually. So we'll do the spinal roll. So have a blanket that you can open up so that it'll be long enough to hold your head and your hips. And then roll it up. And then we're gonna lie back. So that hips, head, and the rest of your spine is right on the blanket. And you can have your knees bent, feet on the floor. And see if you can find rest with your hips. So maybe feet further away, maybe feet a little wider. Somewhere you can really let those hips relax. Close your eyes or set your gaze at one spot. Relax the muscles in your face, especially around the jaw. The roof of your mouth, the soft palate, base of the tongue. And then notice the space that you're in. Maybe the sounds around you. The air on your skin. And then feel into the space that you take up, the boundaries of your skin. Where your body lands down. And then narrow your attention to your weight on the blanket. Starting at your tail. Feeling the weight of your sacrum. Your lumbar spine, below the rib cage. Your thoracic spine, your rib cage spine. In between the shoulder blades. Your cervical spine, your neck, which might not be touching the blanket, but imagine it resting back. And then your head, the weight of your skull. Begin to deepen your breath. In and out through your nose, unless there's a reason that you can't. And you might start working with a light Ujjayi breath. Closing the back of the throat just a bit, which will slow the breath down, give it some texture. And you allow your spine to be held by the blanket. And maybe even a little heavier on your exhales. Imagine you could melt a bit from your inner knees down through the groins. And you can stay here with knees bent, or you could extend the legs out straight. Heavy through the inner thighs. And steady with your breath. And then from here, we're going to bring the hands right to the back of the head. Just interlace the fingers back there. Feel for pressing the back of the head into the hands. And then from the top to the bottom of the spine, we're going to actively press the spine into the blanket and then start to curl up. So your head will lift first. The upper spine is pressing down into the blanket and then curling up. As best you can, doing this one vertebra at a time. Just curling up until you can kind of look straight ahead down your mat towards your feet and then roll it back down. We're going to do that again. This time, inhale, take your arms up overhead. And then exhale, chin into your chest. Start to press your spine down into the mat from the top as you curl up off the mat. So each bone tries to push down into the blanket as you curl yourself up. Come up to a seat, maybe inhale, take the arms up. And then exhale, tailbone's going to curl towards your heels and we're going to lower back down. One vertebra at a time and as best you can. Inhale, arms up alongside the ears. And then exhale, same thing, curling up. Inhale, arms up. This time exhale, maybe fold any amount. And then we'll roll back up to seated. Inhale. Exhale, tailbone curls forward and you lower down as best you can, one vertebra at a time. We'll do that one more time. Inhale. And then exhale. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold any amount. Inhale back to a seat. And then exhale, roll down. And you're back on the blanket. Make sure you're centered on it. And then start to zip up transverse abdominis muscles. So imagine you could take your right hip bone and your left hip bone and kind of tuck them in towards each other. Knit the lower front ribs in towards each other. Imagine you could take right waist and tuck it into left waist tucks into right. And then take your arms up in a V. And your legs can come out a little wider as well. And then right arm, left leg, and you lift them up, keeping those TAs engaged. And maybe you can touch the leg, maybe you can touch the foot, and then lower them back down. Re-engage, kind of knitting up through the abdominal muscles, feeling your spine firm on the blanket. And then left arm, right leg, lift them up. And we'll do that 2 more times. Inhale. Right arm, left leg. Inhale. And we'll do the opposite. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, release. We're going to come off the blanket. You can turn the blanket sideways under the back of your head. Bring your legs into constructive rest. Go ahead and hug that right knee in. You're going to extend the left leg down your mat. Flex the ankle, press out through the heel. And then you're going to bring that right knee in towards the right armpit. You can stay here. You can reach up and grab the outside edge of the foot, coming into half happy baby. You can stay here. You can straighten that right leg any amount. Interlace the hands behind the back of the thigh if you can't reach the foot or if you don't have a strap. See if you can soften a bit through the belly. Slide your outer right hip forward. And imagine you're standing nice and tall from your left foot up through the crown of your head. And then we're going to take that right leg over to the left into a twist. You can have the knee bent or you can keep the legs straight. Find that length again from your left foot up through the crown of your head, and then the right arm's going to come up and over to the right, any amount. Working with that steady breath. You can stay right here, or if it's available, you could bend the left knee, reach down for that left foot. And you're going to keep that left knee bent, but bring the left foot towards the floor in line with your left hip. So your right leg is still reaching out. If it's too much to keep the leg straight, as you work into this little quad stretch on the left leg, you can bend the right knee. And then just work that left foot towards the floor. And then release. To the other side, coming onto back, coming into constructive rest again. Bring that left knee in for a hug and extend the right leg down your mat. Same here, bringing the knee out wide. We're coming into half happy baby, getting into the hamstrings and the groins. Left foot, left shin, pressing down towards the floor, bring that knee towards your outer left ribs. And then any amount, you can start to straighten the left leg up. Here. And as you slide that outer left hip slightly forward, you can release any excess tension in your abdomen. and sink the top of that right thigh bone towards the mat. And then we'll take the left leg off to the right, into a little twist here. Long through the right side. Left arm's going to come up and over any amount. Pulling that outer left hip away from you. One more breath here. And then on this side, reaching back maybe for the right foot. And then if you grab the right foot, you can direct it towards the floor. And a little opening across the front of that right hip, right low belly, into right groin. And then release. And we'll come back to constructive rest. Have both knees in. Go ahead and rock up. You can rock back and forth a couple of times. And then see if you can catch yourself right up on your sit bones. So feet can always come down to touch if they need to, but see if you could maybe find a balance. Tailbone is going to curl up towards the heels to feel your lower belly engage. Lifted through the chest. Maybe release the legs and squeeze the inner thighs in. Trying to hold something in between your knees. Maybe extend the legs straight. And you're breathing. Steady, even breaths. Gaze at one spot. And you can set your gaze on that little spot like you love it. So there's a softness to your gaze. Maybe that even translates into a softness in your throat and your attitude. And then we'll bend the knees, cross the legs, and gently fold forward. And you can take some side to sides here, just exploring through the hips. And back up to a seat and grab your blanket. So instead of having it rolled all the way up, we'll come from the same place we started, but we'll fold it into thirds. And then we'll roll that up. It's going to go right in the lower belly. Below the belly button, above the pubic bone. And what I like to do, keep that ball away from me, is to come slightly forward so that my pubic bone is a bit on the blanket. And then slide back so that the blanket can lift the lower belly back and up towards the navel. So you get a little bit of a drag. Pulling all that tissue out from front pockets of the hips. And then you could stay here. Come down. Using your breath as a way to explore the tension in your lower belly, the pressure from the blanket. There are areas that feel stuck. Always rock the hips a little bit from side to side here, giving a little massage into your organs, to your abdominal muscles. Behind all of that, you've got your psoas muscles. Take a nice breath in. We're going to exhale and drag that right knee up into a half happy baby. Inhale here. Exhale completely, letting the blanket sink into the left side. And then inhale, slide your right leg back again. Exhale, the left knee comes up into half happy baby. Inhale. Exhale. And then inhale, the left leg comes back again. And we'll do that a couple of times. Breathe in. Exhale, right knee, half happy baby. Inhale, filling your belly right up into the blanket. And then exhale, see how much you can soften and allow that blanket to sink in. Inhale, right leg comes back. Exhale, left knee comes up. And a full breath here. Inhale, left knee comes back. And at this point, you might have noticed that one side felt like it was a little bit more tender or it like needed the blanket more. And so come into that side and we'll just hang here for a couple of breaths. And then bring both legs down your mat again. And this time, we'll tuck both sets of toes under. And from right up in the groins, start to think about sliding back down through the inseams of your legs to press your heels back and straighten the legs. So the knees will lift up off the floor, but not just because you're engaging your quads to do it. Really feel like you're sliding the length down through the inseams of the legs. And this might be enough. This might be plenty. Maybe you rock the hips a little bit from side to side. Maybe keep the toes tucked and come up onto your forearms into Sphinx pose in the upper body, pressing down through the elbows, lifting up through the shoulders and chest. And take one more breath in. And then exhale and release the toes. Inhale, cobra. And then exhale, child's pose. You can unroll the blanket and let your forehead rest down. Bring up onto your knees. Go ahead and grab that blanket. We're going to unfold it again from the start. And take that wide across your mat. Bring the knees onto the blanket. And then just come into tabletop. Walk that tabletop a little longer. Inhale into your long cow. Exhale, cat. And then let the hips come forward and down. And as your pelvis starts to descend, we're going to pull the mat back towards the hips to drag the heart forward and up. Bend the elbows as much as you need to, cobra. And then exhale, lower down. Keeping the hands right where they are. Lift the shoulders, lift the legs. Locust pose with the hands down, but keep them light. And then exhale, tip it back. When the feet land, pull the heart forward and up. Inhale, cobra. And then exhale, child's pose. Breathe in. Breathe out, long cat. Hips come forward and down. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, lower down. Hands can stay put. Lift everything up. Inhale. Fronts of the armpits lift away from the floor. Shoulder blades slide back. And then exhale, tip it back. Pull the heart forward as you inhale, cobra. And exhale, child's pose. Breathe in. Breathe out, long cat. Could do this part just for hours and hours. Hips come down. Pull the blanket back. Inhale, cobra. And then exhale, lower down. This time you can release the hands. We'll take the left arm out into like a half goalpost position to start. You might end up wanting it to be more just reaching out to your left, or maybe even a little bit higher depending on what's going on in your shoulders and chest. But we'll roll it over a little bit so that we're opening up into that left chest. Your head can rest down on your mat, or you could put a blanket or a block under there. Feel your left shoulder blade slide down your back a bit, and the top of the shoulder blade heel back. And so you haven't gone into anything that's going to create tingling or numbness or anything like that. We're just looking for an opening across left chest into left armpit. And so you might have to play around a little bit with the angle of that left arm to find it. And then we'll release and we'll do the other side. So right arm comes out, finding the angle that gets you a nice little opening through outer right chest, right armpit, right shoulder. Shoulder blade slides down your back, and the top of that shoulder blade peels off the back of it. And then we'll unwind. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, child's pose. And this time we'll stay in the child's pose, and we'll just take the knees out wider. Maybe as wide as your mat, maybe even wider. Starting here in that wide knee child's pose, the big toes are still touching or close. Stay here. Play with bringing your knees a little further apart and bringing your hips forward so that they're more in line with the knees. And then you're going to lift your lower belly up If you could imagine that you were still on that blanket roll and you were to try to lift your belly away from the blanket, just enough so that you're not coming into a big back bend in your lower back. We're lifting out of that just a bit. You're going to keep the lower belly pulling back towards the sacrum, up towards the ceiling, and then maybe play around with kind of rocking a bit forward and back. And see where you need it the most. So maybe it's the front of the groins that need a little extra stretch, a little more time. Maybe it's the back of the groins, the ones that are closer to your hamstring. And so you can decide where you want to be, and then stay where you need it the most. Sometimes that's the place where you want to be the least. And then you could also take your feet out as wide as your knees, turning the toes to the side, coming into full frog. So you could be anywhere from still in your wide child's pose to frog here. And then tune into your breath. So we're asking a lot of the inner thighs. And your nervous system right now is trying to decide, like, is this okay? Is this somewhere I want to be? And the way that we start to communicate with the nervous system is just with the breathing. And so inhale, exhale, slow and steady. And if you can't, at any point in your practice, find a slow and steady breath, that might mean it's time to back out. Notice where the ground holds you. And then imagine you're going to try to squeeze the floor together in between your knees. Like you're going to try to pinch it or almost like pick it up with your knees. So you feel all that work through the groins, through the adductors. And hold that for a breath or two. So you're really squeezing the floor with your legs. And then on your next exhale, as you let that action go, are you able to soften any amount deeper into the pose? Sometimes a little active engagement can teach our bodies like what it means to engage on purpose and then let go, versus some of this kind of passive holding, gripping that we have that is a result of, who knows, old injuries, activities that you do throughout the day, of course, horseback riding, definitely. And so we'll do that one more time. So actively engage, like you're trying to squeeze the floor together in between the knees, feel all that work. And then on an exhale, let it go. And then to come out of this, you could come back through child's pose if that feels intuitive, or you could just come forward, lowering the pelvis down, bring the legs together, bend the knees. Forehead can rest right on your stacked hands, and we'll just windshield wiper the feet from side to side. And then back up through tabletop. You can get rid of that blanket now. And we'll come into downward facing dog. Tucking the toes, hips lift up and back. Let's do a couple standing poses in class. I guess we don't have to, but we are going to. Just finding that downward facing dog. Imagine a little air bubble, a little pocket of air right in the lower belly where you had the blanket roll, and float that up and back. Arms trying to get a little longer. Feet pushing off the floor to grow your legs longer. Front of the armpits, outer collarbones lift slightly towards your thumbs. Your chest stays open. Let's take one more breath in here. And then exhale, release the knees down, tabletop. Inhale, cat. Exhale, cow. Just said the opposite as I did it. And then we're going to extend the right leg back, toes tucked, press through that heel. Again, like you're trying to lift your lower belly off the blanket roll. So pull that up a bit. And then we'll take the right leg out parallel to the floor, extending the left arm. You can hold here. Again, think about zipping up your transverse abdominis muscles through the belly. You could bend the right knee, reach back for the foot. And if you have the foot's going to press up and back to help open that left chest. You can think about your pubic bone sliding back and up. And you're going to lift up through the fronts of the armpits. Take another breath in. Exhale, release the foot. Both hands come down. We're going to bring that right knee in towards the chest. Coming into your cat spine. Curl it in. And then step it forward in between the hands. We're going to anchor that back heel. Nice deep bend through the right knee. Come up, warrior one. Right heel is pushing into the floor. And all that action of the push into the floor is going to rebound right back up through the left leg to help lengthen your spine. Inhale. Exhale, interlace the hands at the lower back. We're going to inhale and roll and open up the chest, any amount. Maybe you find a little back bend, sliding the knuckles down your back leg as you lift the sternum forward and up. And then exhale, humble warrior. The outer right hip is going to slide back as you gaze down towards your right big toe. The outer right hip sliding towards your left heels to keep that pelvis centered. And then we'll release the hands down, send your left leg up to the ceiling, standing split. It might look nothing like a split, but both legs are trying to get a little longer. Inhale, and then exhale, step your feet together at the front of your mat. Inhale, long spine, lengthen out. Exhale, fold down. Stand up, inhale. And fold right back down, exhale. Long spine, inhale. Exhale, plank. Lower all the way down into your belly. Back bend as you inhale, cobra, or if you want to lift the thighs, upward facing dog. Downward facing dog, exhale. Breathe in. Breathe out. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, knees come down, table. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale to neutral, extending the left foot back, pressing through the heel. Lower belly lifts up, Taking that leg parallel to the floor. Reaching the right arm forward. And you could stay here, or you could work grabbing onto the foot and pressing it up to the ceiling. So that whole left shin is going to slide up. You're going to push the floor away with your left hand, with your right leg. We'll take one more breath in here. And then exhale, release. Left knee in towards the chest. Bring it forward as much as you can, rounding the spine, and then step it up. Warrior one on the left side. Stay steady. Feel your feet. And then we'll interlace the hands. You can do it the weird way. The way that does not feel comfortable, roll that chest open, back bend any amount. And then we'll fold forward, humble warrior. That outer left hip can tend to kind of like sway off to the side, and so you're just thinking about directing it back towards your right heel. Notice how it feels to breathe. Release the hands down. Take that right leg up. Standing split just for a breath or two. And then we'll step the feet together. Inhale, long spine. Exhale, fold down. Stand up, inhale. And right back down, exhale. Long spine, inhale. Exhale, plank. Lower halfway or all the way down. Back bend as you inhale. Downward facing dog, exhale. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Take the hips up and back. Breathe out. Roll your spine forward. And just like we did coming from long cat into cobra, let the hips come forward and down. Your toes are going to stay tucked, so the hips won't come to the ground. But as they come down in line with your feet, we're going to pull the heart forward just like we did from long cat. And we'll land in upward facing dog with the toes tucked under. The heels are pulling back. The heart is pulling forward. You're pulling back on your mat with your hands. Legs are engaged. Take one more breath in. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Breathe in. Breathe out. One more like that. Inhale. Exhale, round your spine forward. Hips come down. Heart pulls forward. Inhale, upward facing dog. And this time, let your shoulders slide up towards your ears. Take the tops of your shoulder blades back. Good. And then slide the shoulder blades down as you come into your upward facing dog. Breathe in. And exhale, breathe out. Child's pose. Inhale, long cat. Exhale, hips are going to come forward and down. And then we're just going to lower. So we're here. And let your forehead rest on your hands. In crocodile. Bring your knees together. And then come up into Sphinx with your arms. You're gonna dial your left arm parallel to the front of your mat. And then bend your right knee, reaching back for that right foot. So your knees are together as best you can. You're gonna engage your right glutes so that you roll your foot out. So you roll your foot towards your left. So it's the way that it'll roll once you engage your butt. So squeeze your butt and then release that and bring your foot towards your outer right hip. We're gonna do that a couple of times. So we'll exhale here. Inhale, squeeze your butt, and then exhale, release. Inhale, squeeze your butt. You're gonna externally rotate that thigh and then exhale, internally rotate, bringing the foot down. One more like that. Inhale. And exhale, and we'll hold here. This is half Bakasana, half another kind of frog. And so you could be holding your ankle, your foot, bringing that towards the outer hip. If the foot comes down quite a bit, I can't really tell right now on camera, but you could also turn the heel of your hands onto the tops of your feet, turning your fingers forward and press down from here. 2 more breaths. And then we'll release. You can shake it out, windshield wiper the feet from side to side if you like. Knees come back together and we'll do the other side. So you're coming up, Sphinx arms. You're gonna dial that right arm parallel to the front of the mat and reach back to the left foot. Inhale, engage the glutes. Exhale, foot towards your outer left hip. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And then exhale. And we'll hold the stretch, that half Bakasana, bringing the heel towards the outer left hip, any amount. And we're breathing. A little of that same kind of engage a muscle, release it. You can let that one go. Windshield wiper the feet from side to side. Sometimes our body doesn't even know that it's gripping, but if we actively try to and then let go, that helps a bit. All right, so come back up. You can take a moment, just press back into child's pose if you need it. And then we'll grab the blanket. And we're just going to roll it up. You could roll it so the way that we've been working, you can fold it in half and then just roll out the short way. And then you're going to come down with the front hip points, your ASIS, right? Like kickstanded onto the blanket. So not at the very top, but like halfway down the front. Halfway down the side that's facing you. So you got a little prop. So from here, heart pulls forward and up, just like cobra pose. And then we'll bend a knee, reach back and grab a foot. Whichever is your easiest side, go ahead and do that. You're gonna hold the outer foot, ankle, shin. And then once you have that foot, press it back to help hold you up. And then see if you can grab the other. So you're propped up, the blanket's gonna help. If you feel like you can't even get up, go further back on the blanket. And then we're just gonna breathe here. Shins shins try to slide up towards the ceiling even if they don't move. So feel that, feel like you're trying to push your feet up towards the ceiling. Press your shins back. Heart lifts forward and up. And we'll take 3 more breaths. So supported bow pose. One more. And then exhale, release. You can use that blanket as a little counter pose right in your belly again. Not quite as intense as in the beginning of practice. And then we will take Shavasana. If you want, unroll this blanket just a bit, so you have a nice little roll for your neck. And then take up as much space as you need here. If once you lie back, you realize the low back needs a little bit more support, a rolled blanket behind the back of the thighs can be nice, like right up below the butt. As we transition into Shavasana, we let go of the control of the breath. Release the Ujjayi breath. We just let our body breathe. Feel through how the ground holds you, feet to crown. Noticing the weight of your heels, where your legs touch, the weight of the hips, upper back and shoulders, where the arms touch. See if you can give the weight of your head over to the floor. Notice where your mind is. And do your best to just be here with your body after all the work you did. To be here and observe the echoes of the practice still working their way through your system. All the ways that your body is softening, and maybe the ways that it's not. Relax and open your ears, noticing the sounds around you again. A long breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Pull the knees in, roll to either side and come up to a seat. Taking a moment of gratitude for giving yourself this time to practice. You can bring your hands to your heart, palms together in prayer, or stacked at your chest. And we'll close out practice by chanting one Om. Thank you so much.